Another year down the drain, another year of games released. 2020 was an interesting year for games because it showed what a major worldwide pandemic could do to affect the way companies usually handle their game releases. And while some companies did the smart thing and realized that they needed more time because of how much harder it is to work from home than the office, where you have a face-to-face discussion with your team.
Maybe we should rub our fat cocks together sometime. Maybe a little oil. 2 fat cocks together. Oil.
Others did the not-so-smart thing and went ahead with releasing with varying degrees of success. Now, for this list, there's only a few games here that were actually released in 2020. I'm usually pretty slow when it comes to playing highly rated games, so most of this list is from games before last year. So when I don't mention things like Half-Life Alyx, it's because I haven't played the game yet. Hopefully my Valve index gets here soon enough though. But without further ado, here is, yours truly, CastledCard's Top 10 Games I Played in 2020. If you were a kid growing up in the mid-2000s, then you most likely played Flash games. These things were everywhere during that time. Amateur developers could easily, well, not easily, but make a game and post it online to the many online Flash websites like Congregate, Miniclip, Armor Games, the list goes on. One of those games was Henry Stickmin, and these were interactive adventure games where the fun was seeing all the ways this bloke could kill himself. Now, years later, all 5 of these games, plus a whole new one, has been released in a beautiful remaster. It may even be the reason why Among Us saw its rise in popularity, since they were made by the same devs. The total length isn't long and can easily be done one sitting, but there's plenty of replay value to see all the endings and fails. And if you didn't play any of these games when you were a kid, this collection is still an easy recommendation because of how funny and fun it is to play.
For it is he that they fear, not man, or his armies. They fear the mark of the beast. Is there anyone left? Please help me!
After playing Doom Eternal, Doom 2016 feels like a tutorial. The carnage that Eternal is able to output at a constant rate is insane. Playing on the hardest difficulty required me to perfect combat encounters and use the terrain and my abilities in order to not get crushed in an instant. Standing still is a death sentence. If your heart rate isn't pumping during these sections, then you're probably having a stroke and you need to go see a doctor. This game has one goal and only one goal, and that is to give the player an adrenaline-filled 5 seconds of balls-to-the-wall action every 5 seconds. There are some step backs from Doom 2016. I'd say this game feels a lot more 90s, with floating and spinning weapons that look really out of place with these super well-done graphics, but it's the best 90s game ever made. The music still carries the action even further, and muting the music should honestly be a crime. With its new story DLC coming out, now is the perfect time to jump in and rip and tear.
Are we rushing in, or are we going sneaky beaky like?
I didn't seriously start playing Payday 2 until a couple months ago, and it caused me to pause a review I'm currently working on because of it. This game is addicting as hell. Overkill had to have made a deal with the devil in some way because of how much replay value there is in this game. Leveling up Infamy, how heists can change layouts, the dozens upon dozens of levels, the weapons, the ludicrous amount of masks, the over 1,200 achievements, enough DLC to make your wallet worried, It's all here to destroy your life. If you played Payday 2 when it came out and stopped playing, you'll be surprised with how much of an arena shooter this became. With the amount of cops that you killed, you'd think that you killed the entire police department thrice over. Much like Doom, the music in this game, oh my god, the music. It can go from heavy metal to dubstep to Christmas carols. The soundtrack is all over the place, but it's 10 out of 10 quality. If you have a group of friends, this game is easy fun. And even if you don't, you can easily find a game of people, as this game is still very much alive.
These guys sure ain't clowning around.
Shut the fuck up.
ダメダメダメよダメなのよあんたが好きで好きすぎてどれだけ強いを避けても歪まない
Paper Mario hasn't had a true RPG game in over 15 years. This is what inspired a group of people to make their own game. Bug Fables is the best Paper Mario game easily. It improves on the formula and adds its own flair to the combat. If you thought that the Thousand Year Doors combat was great, just wait until you play Bug Fables. This game proves that a game in the style of the original Paper Mario games still works and can be iterated upon. The cast of Kabu, Leaf, and V are an easily likable trio, and their adventure is fun to play through that never gets dull. This game feels like it could have been released on the GameCube and probably run on the GameCube as well. This game is getting free updates that adds new content, so it's a game that you can come back to every now and again and see what's new. I've already made a review of this game, so if you want to see what else I have to say about it, then go watch that video. Buy it. Now. Under the management of EA, Star Wars games haven't been very good. You can look at BF2 and say it's good now, but considering it took 2 years to earn that title, that's not something that should be praised. But then comes in Respawn to not only make a passable game, but an amazing Star Wars game. Third-person adventure games used to be Star Wars' bread and butter with games like Rogue Squadron, Bounty Hunter, and The Force Unleashed. Fallen Order is the newest game that follows in these games' footsteps, and deserves to be up there with the greats. It takes obvious inspiration from games like Dark Souls with its bonfires and hard as dicks early boss fights. The characters have plenty to like about them. Cal goes from an unsure young Jedi into a confident knight with his own side piece. This is a series that needs to continue even without EA's exclusivity over the Star Wars license, as Respawn is the only developer EA still has that has any hope of making any good or finished games.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when the nothing...
The last time I played Dead Space was probably close to 10 years ago now. Since then, I've been saying that Dead Space 2 was the better game, and while in some ways it is, it doesn't even come close to the atmosphere and pure passion to a horror game that the original provides. Whereas the sequels focus very strongly on action, the original wasn't when the devs were being pressured by EA to sell a ridiculous amount of copies with a ballooning budget. Isaac's somewhat clunky movement is what helps make the game's combat feel even scarier, as it takes him a bit longer than you'd like for him to do certain actions. But I'd say that helps him feel more like a real person than the action movie star he becomes. He's barely surviving by a thread, and each new room could be his last. I also may or may not be working on a retrospective for this series, but who knows. The entire series is on Steam, with the first 2 being incredible fun, and a spiritual successor is being made, so do yourself a favor and pick up these games. Halo is one of the oldest game franchises I've played. I love Halo. Halo 3 is up there with one of the best games ever made for me. It shouldn't come to any surprise then that every good Halo game being released on PC in this collection isn't on this list somewhere. Here we can see the golden age of Bungie with hit after hit, from Halo CE to Reach than 343's Halo 4. There isn't one bad game in this collection. Fight me on Halo 4, that story is good. Not only that, but you've got every game's multiplayer, forge, custom game, theater, the whole shabam. This collection is going to age like fine wine, with modders coming in and adding even more like they did of Halo CE for PC for almost 2 decades. I can't wait to see what this community is able to do with this collection as the years go on. If you have any excitement about Halo Infinite, then pick up this steal of a deal on Steam and enjoy this treat of a series. If you want to see my whole thoughts about this game, I made a video about it not too long ago, but this game is beautifully designed from both a graphics perspective and a game design one. How it makes the player feel without a word being spoken, and the companionship felt with a total stranger is one to be commended for all time. The hero's journey was used to such great effect here, and the music just so perfectly ties everything together. This is one of those you have to play it kind of games to get the full experience. It's short, just around 2 hours or so, but it's 2 hours that you won't forget anytime soon. Hell, even if you don't have a console or PC, this game is on the phone, so you don't really have an excuse. Unless you're Android, because I guess they kind of hate Android. I can't believe how long it took me to play this. Deltarune is a great game, and it shows that Toby Fox isn't just a one-trick pony. This is just Chapter 1, effectively a demo, of what is supposed to be a 3 or more chapter length game. The little that is here has the potential to be better than Undertale. The combat is a lot more enjoyable and fun to watch, and the characters still have that Undertale charm. As a sequel, or whatever it's supposed to be the Undertale, it still carries that charm and wit Toby Fox brings. Simply, I cannot wait for the full game to be released, as it will be phenomenal without a doubt. Now here it is, the number 1 game I played this year. But real quick, here's an honorable mention. Okay, hear me out on this one. Yes, it's a short game. Yes, it's a puzzle game. But come on, that music, that beat, those sprites. How can you release a free-to-play game that's an hour long with over 85,000 reviews on Steam, fan art out the wazoo, and a soundtrack mostly of just one piece of music? You just have to find man's deepest desire, which is apparently fucking demons. If my time here on YouTube has taught me anything, it's that porn sells a lot better than normal content. It's free, do what you want, I don't judge. It's really crazy it took me until the end of the PS4's life cycle to play a game that originally came out at the end of the PS3's life cycle, but here we are. This game really is a masterpiece. The story is top of its class, and even though people have complaints over its combat, I'd say that clunky combat in a game like this adds more than it subtracts. On harder difficulties, peeking out to take a shot can be a really bad idea. Like a horror game like Dead Space, it makes the person you're controlling feel more real. Scavenging is not only essential to surviving, but also to see the incredible amount of detail Naughty Dog was able to fit onto the PS3. Its sequels show that the original story and characters mattered. There are no bad characters in The Last of Us. They all have varying personalities, motives, history. It all feels thought out. Throughout all the horrors Joel goes through, he has Ellie there to remain as his hope for mankind. She's not only what could be the cure for mankind, but also her personality and hope for the future is what gives this game the light it needs from being an overly dark, humorless, and overly up its own ass kind of game. This is a one-of-a-kind kind of game. Here's the 2021.